Hey everyone, welcome to the show, Aussie Footy Chats, episode 29, the Brisbane Lions Draft Chat. So the reigning premiers, also the premiership winning team this year, going back to back. So it's going to be a good chat today. We're talking about the number one side of this year and also how they cleaned up in the draft once again. It's going to be a hard chat because what else can you add to this premiership winning team? And we'll get into it. We'll talk about the picks right now. So, pick number 6, Dan Annabel. Pick 38, Kobe Evans. Pick 43, Cody Curtin. And pick 44, Tai Hayes. And also going into the rookie draft, Lincoln McCarthy has been relisted by the club. So we'll start off with the first player at pick 6, Dan Annabel. An Allies product, a Brisbane NGA Academy player, standing at 183 centimetres. He is one of the best ultra-consistent midfielders in the game of the under-18s, with superb stoppage at the craft at the stoppage and a strong two-way work rate player, so the ability to run forward and also be defensively driven. He's an inside midfielder, but is very clean, able to hit the contest and handle the ball clean to an outside running player. Dan Annabel's junior career has been consistent as they come. He burst onto the scenes in the under 16s, turning out for the Brisbane Lions Academy in 4 Coates Talent League games, before leaping onto the representative stage, where he captained the Brisbane Lions to a Pool B title as the most valuable player and was duly named in the All-Australian side. So, yeah, under 16s there, MVP, got a Pool B title for the Brisbane Lions and was named in the All-Australian side. After a full bottom age campaign with the Allies last year, so yeah, playing as an underage player, he followed through with his top age season, once again to claim All-Australian honours and finish second in the Larkey medal. He skippered the AFL Academy squad, so yeah, leadership skills as a skipper. And yeah, so he was best on ground in a game against the Richmond VFL side, going on to play 8 VFL appearances with the Lions for an average of 21 disposals per game. So yeah, a good consistent amount of games at senior level. And yeah, best on ground against the VFL side. This guy's sheet is already speaking great for his resume. His journey with the Lions has now become full circle. He's been a part of the academy setup since he was 12 years old, so he's been around the club for a while, knows the ins and outs, and knows what it takes to be an AFL footballer. He's now on the cusp of hitting the top level as an 18-year-old and spent time training with the senior groups and models his games off the likes of Lachie Neale, a South Australian product from Glenelg. Shout out to you, mate. What a great player to role model on. Brownlow medalist, premiership player. He is a great player. Brisbane made the trade from Fremantle a few years ago now, and they scored himself an absolute superstar. And then they've moulded him into the player that he is today. After doing quite well at Fremantle. And now this young fella gets to mould his game around Lachie Neale. And, has been doing a fair bit of work with him and at the club. So, yeah, he was co-captains of the Lions. Also consecutive premiership winning player. So, yeah, that's Lachie Neale for you, obviously, with the Brownlows as well. So, yeah, so he is an absolute gun. We'll just go through. So his strengths are clean hands, he's consistent, he has the running ability to run both ways, He's also got good stoppage craft, the ability to play inside and handball the ball clean to the outside running players. And his work rate is quite good. So if you want to be an A-grade midfielder and base your game around someone like Lachie Neale, work rate is the most important thing. You've seen how in the grand final, he did come into the game with calf injury, Lachie Neale, and his ability to start after the second half and impact the game with an amazing work ethic and running with the ball, kicking a couple goals and amassing over 20 touches in just a half. So, yeah, it's very hard to get into the game if you haven't started in the game, and shows his ability around stoppage craft, and he moulds himself on that type of player. Kicking under pressure and a bit of flair he needs in his game, but I've just have them down on my list that I'm reading. Don't think, to be fair, why do you need flair when you're just a good old school hard nut, hard at the ball, handball it out to the running guys that have that flair? You don't need to have that, mate. You just need first hands on the ball, hit the contest, dish it out. But he's a well-rounded midfielder that actually has the ability to use the ball quite well, even on the inside, and has a cool head under pressure. He's a clean, contested ball winner who thrives off stoppage situations. His distraction work is a one-touch based game and prides himself on being able to remain poised and calm in traffic, releasing to his teammates into space and giving them the all clear to clear the ball down to the forward line. He's generally very clean by hand and sets a strong tone around the ball with his clearance craft. So, yeah, very important traits and skill around the ball. He's also added another thing to his bow with his two-way running efforts that he's developed into his game, and the running power around the ground, in particular the ability to chain possessions in attacking phase, has helped increase his ability to hurt his opponents also on the scoreboard by obtaining the ball through stoppages in the forward 50 and the ability to use the ball and kick goals. So, yeah, he also performs regularly as a half forward, the ability to rest up forward. Yeah, and so he's built the knack to kick a few snapping goals in the forward 50 and from stoppages too, just as I explained. So, yeah, shows a versatility which has boosted his stocks to be able to play those two roles. If you're a midfielder and you can go down forward and impact on the scoreboard, that is what separates you from being an average midfielder to a great midfielder. So, not only you have to work hard in the middle, you got to work hard to get in the forward line, create opportunities for your teammates, whether it's through assists or actually direct impact onto the scoreboard by kicking goals. So, yeah, spending more time in the forward line will likely allow him to break into another senior team quicker. And being in the midfield is where he shines, but he's held his own during the 8 VFL games. So, yeah, in a mark of his own consistency, he had over 20 touches 5 times and a high of 28. So, consistently getting in the 20s as a young player. Playing against men, so he's already hardened himself for those roles. He's maintained that kind of level, not just throughout the year, but for several seasons with the Lions. Even as a 16-year-old, he averaged 21 touches and 5 tackles in the Coates Talent League. So he has the ability to tackle, two-way running ability, and the ability to go through the contest and hand the ball cleanly. That kind of output has put him on a parcel, one of the parcels of Annabel's game ever since he was reliable as they come and always delivers as advertised, even in the big moments, so the ability to stand up when he's needed. Other prospects of Annabel has been covered as his speed and flair and his flashiness, but he's more your meat and 3 veg type of guy, which is nothing wrong with that, mate. I love my 3 veggies and a couple of meat. So, yeah, shout out to you there, mate. And also has been working with the likes of Grant Virtual, looking to align and polish his game. So, yeah, Grant Virtual, Hawthorn legend. From what I remember, he played off the half back. Great ball user. So, yeah, if he's teaching him to use his skills and clean up his actual skills in his game and the ability to get his kicking better, clean hands, to be able to get on the inside of the contest and give those handballs out. To me, that's like super important. And that's why Brisbane are so good. They've got guys like Grant Birchall developing the players there and just teaching them those basic skills. So shout out to you, Grant Virtual. You're doing a great job there. And yeah, he has quite poise when going by hand or foot. And how he uses the ball is quite impressive and can sometimes waver on his execution under pressure, but also when he's on the run, it's a bit more harder running at full tilt. So that's probably the one thing he's got to learn more. But this guy is not an outside player, and you shouldn't expect him to use the ball at full tilt. That's generally not his thing to do. His job is to be an inside player, to dish out to the guy that is going to run full tilt. So that, to me, is, he can work on that and his speed, but that's a thing that comes with time. But his main job, he is really good at it. So that's the most important thing. As it says, he's an inside leaning midfielder, but always has ways to get better and become a threat to his opposition, which, those sort of things will happen. But there's no need to fix too much of his game if he can impact stoppages in the forward 50. So, yeah, that's very impressive. That speaks for himself a fair bit there. I'm pretty sort of happy with that. And that covers him pretty well. And we could talk a bit about... so Brisbane do have the ability to get guys like this through their NGA program. And they're not quite like the other sides like GWS and the Gold Coast, where they don't have much father sons to pick from. And you could make the argument that they should be able to keep those types of zones and the ability to pick players from them due to the fact that they don't have father-son type players. Where the Brisbane Lions are a little bit older, still not as old as other clubs as their history, but they still have the ties to Fitzroy. So yeah, they have a bit more of an advantage than the newer teams like Gold Coast and GWS, but so you could say that they should have probably a little bit less, but they have developed great players, and it's a testament to their program, and that should also be celebrated. So that is Dan Annabel. And we'll go on to Kobe Evans now. Kobe Evans is a forward / midfielder standing at 187 centimetres, so a little bit of height on him. He's a powerful midfielder and forward who uses his speed as a surge type forward, applying pressure that is punishing. He's one of the great unknowns in this draft crop. The West Coast Next Generation Academy member has suffered his fair setback of injuries. He remains a strong draft chance, which he got drafted, and that's why we're talking about him. He was a bottom age player that was performing well, playing 15 waffle games in the Colts and turning out for Western Australia's state sides in under 18s, where he broke out the famous backflip celebration. So I couldn't do a backflip if I tried, and I'll only ever do a front flip and do a pull. So you got a leg up on me there, mate. There's no doubt, I can't do any backflips. So when I see someone do a backflip during a celebration, it is pretty impressive. So yeah, it reminds me of the young Richmond bloke that did it during the year when they won their first game against Carlton. So yeah, this year he was just restricted to 2 Colts appearances and also league appearances. One of 2 National Academy matches. He had tongues wagging with a massive pre-season performance in front of many AFL recruiters before going on to notch 28 disposals, a goal in round 1 of the Colts campaign. A calf injury sidelined him for the next game, although it was nothing compared to his 14-week stint in recovery due to back stress fractures. So yeah, it's quite sad when you see stress fractures in the back. It's an important part of your body. And yeah, it does remind me of a fellow Port player last year who had back fractures and stress fractures and missed a fair bit of footy. Zert Thatcher, so shout out to you, mate. Coming into this pre-season, you'll do better. So, having previously gone through the same recovery process, he stayed busy with the state program during rehab and made a splash upon return to Colts with 25 touches and 7 tackles in stifling conditions, which saw him promoted into Perth's league side a week later, making 2 appearances before again going down to an ankle injury. So which he had access to the Eagles facilities for his recovery and beginning to get back into the gym. So yeah, it was very nice of West Coast to let him to use his facilities. Surprising West Coast didn't draft him, but they had a few players to pick from. And they had to use a certain amount of points to get who they needed. And this guy slipped through to Brisbane. So, yeah, Evan says his rollercoaster year has helped him build mental toughness. So, yeah, that does build resilience and the ability to keep playing football and getting through injuries like that. I mean, they're not like major knee injuries like ACLs, but a stress fracture in the back is one of those ones you don't want to see. And if you can fix those up, and obviously an ankle injury, you don't want too much injuries with your ankles or knees also. So, yeah, it's built up a bit of resilience. He was invited to the National Draft Combine where he attended sporting crutches and a moon boot. The explosive prospect models his game on the likes of Shia Bolter and Isaac Heaney. He also... Yeah, they've had enough sample size to see how he plays and who he plays like, and the ability to be a pressure forward and the ability to burst out of the contest and use his speed. So that covers him, and so that's a pretty important one. If he can be a Shia Bolter type player, it'll be interesting West Coast versus Freo games where those two can go head to head, and it'll be a great derby to watch. So, sorry, he's not playing for Freo. I got that one mixed up. Sorry, he's at Brisbane. That's West Coast. What are you doing? That's my bad. Sorry when you see Brisbane play on them. So. That's my bad. I got that one wrong. So West Coast had a chance to get him, but didn't get him. Let's just clarify that. That is my bad. But yeah, that does cover him quite well. So yeah, West Coast didn't elect to get him. They didn't have enough to get him, and Brisbane Lions have now come in and they've cleaned up. So they've got another NGA product, but from another club. So, yeah, that's quite interesting with all the talk about the NGA programs. They've come in and swept a player, so it does happen. Other clubs can get the players, so there's a lot of talk about it. And unfortunately, you don't hear about the players that go to other clubs. It's more about how clubs got it and the whole Gold Coast stuff, where I'll get into a podcast about that. But hey, it is what it is. So we'll talk about Cody Curtin, the brother of Dan Curtin, the 200-centimetre power forward, key forward, the big bloke, the big clunking full forward of the draft. So yeah, powerful marking forward who monsters his opponents and kicks goals in bags. Cody Curtin has long been on the radar of one of Western Australia's best draft talents. He has a familiar name and done the same program pathway as his brother Dan. Dan Curtin from the Crows, one of the rising stars of football. They're both big boys, but I do see them being a different type player. Obviously, with Dan, he's more versatile and has the ability to play as a key forward. He can run in the midfield. He can run on the wing. So his versatility is very paramount. Where Cody Curtin is a big clunking full forward, but has played defense on key position defense and shutting down some good tall forwards. So we'll talk about that now. So yeah. Dan was drafted in 2023, and his younger brother Cody has played a full national championships campaign, much like his older brother. Also, in his bottom age season last year, before going to help Claremont take out a second straight Waffle Colts flag. So his ability to be in a winning side is great. With strong state form behind him and his introduction into the National Academy, there was plenty of hype building around Curtin and his late season Colts form. He yielded 2 bags of 6 goals in his last 3 games, all while slotting into the state's side as a key defender. So the ability to play 2 roles. And so yeah, much like his older brother Dan, his versatility was clear from the onset, but also showed very strong physical traits and a genuine competitive streak and the ability to just manhandle or ragdoll his opponents. So he turned out in both the National Academy games before another full state under-18s carnival as a key forward / ruck, where his goal was to break into Claremount's notoriously strong league side. So yeah, he made every post a winner in the Colts, with 6 goals in the grand final, which he helped the Tigers take out a 3rd consecutive flag. So yeah, it was a performance that was full of trademarks, presence and power, the ability to kick goals and just monster his opponents. He has the ability to make the defenders panic with his sheer size and presence. If you put the ball right to this man, kick it right, the ability for a midfielder to kick it perfectly to this guy is a key thing that he's going to need. And with the Brisbane Lions, they have the time to nurture this guy's craft. There's no rush for him to come in the side, obviously, with Gallup and Oscar Allen coming through free agency alongside Sam Draper. This man there's no rush for this guy, so he can have 2 years of just developing his craft. I mean, if its form's good enough, he'll break into the side. But this guy, Brisbane know they've got time. They've got the ability to just bring this guy along and turn him into one of the monster key forwards of the competition. And yeah, so his strengths are obviously his contested marking, physicality, the scoreboard impact, strength, and the versatility. They say that his improvements is his running power and his speed, but I don't try to look into that too much. I think if a midfielder can use his ability to kick it to him properly, obviously you need a bit of a gas tank to play out an AFL game, but just kick it to the man right, and that midfield that Brisbane have, there's no doubt they're going to have the ability to do that. So yeah, he's a powerful presence, loves the physical jostle of the game, to be able to present himself and take a contested mark. Particularly as a key forward, his sheer size makes opponents panic. If he can't mark, he'll draw free kicks from his opponents trying to hang off him. Not only that does he rack up opportunities, but he makes oppositions pay with the reliable conversion rate he has at kicking for goal. He slotted 32 goals and 9 behinds, so he's quite accurate around goal. That was in 9 Waffle appearances this season, providing an absolute dead eye in front of goal. So not only that, as you're clunking forward, he can kick. So that's like, if you, it's a good thing to clunk marks, but if you can, set back, kick your shots off, set shots, just back yourself in and then kick those goals. Like, big raps to this guy. This guy went a bit more later in the draft. Were they worried about his speed or something? Look, his brother's got a good versatility. His brother, and then him being even bigger than his brother in size and ability to mark the ball at his age is impressive. His scoreboard impact was profound nearly every week in Claremont colours. Curtin's 9 appearances included 3 hauls of 5 goals and 2 bags of 6. He's kicked bags of 6 goals. Like, that is just... And with his state team, WA didn't quite have the midfield like the other teams like South Australia and Victoria. Vic Country particularly. Obviously South Australia, undefeated championship side. Those teams were above them. And obviously it's shown in the draft. But it's not to say they didn't have good midfielders, but they just didn't have the ability to get the ball down to the forward line for Curtin. But his ability to use every opportunity he had to clunk him, he did that well. So there isn't much defenders can do to stop this big man. When he's on song, he reads the ball well and gets into position early, and it's extremely difficult to move him off his line with his size and sheer physicality. From there, he has vice-like grip, which is strong hands and ability to absorb contact without a fuss. So he doesn't mind being physical. He doesn't mind someone trying to get into his, space and try to move him. He'll just sit there and clunk it with strong hands, like vice-like grips. And, mark it, be clear enough to come back, take his set shot and drill the goal. So those traits alone, I really like that from him. So scoring is a major facet for getting Curtin up and running. He's had his share of quieter games throughout the season, but only need a small sniff to get going. Big contested marks, an important ability to kick goals is central to his confidence. Being a big guy, you need to clunk him. You need to, look at the goals, kick a goal, and just pump your team up. The big guys get real passionate and they pump their team up. When you see a big guy just clunk it and set back and kick a goal, it makes everyone around you stand taller. It's no different to a little player taking a big hit and getting the ball out. It makes everyone stand taller. Especially when you see a big guy clunk it and kick goals. That's important. So yeah, he's a difficult player to maintain when he's full go and on full steam. He's the type of player it's go big or go home. So he celebrates goals with passion, which is important. And he has craft and the bodywork that he's built in the forward line, which he's making his home now. Although such physicality and size, he has also translated well into a secondary ruck role, which is important. His size, he might need to pinch hit in the ruck. So yeah, at 200 centimeters, he provides a ruck contest and can clunk marks down the line in defense. So yeah, that helps playing a bit of defense. And yeah, he played as a key defender from that year before in the state setup last year by doing solid jobs on eventual draftees like Jack Whitlock and Charlie Nicholson. So yeah, Jack went to Port Adelaide, played a few games in the back end of the year, and has gone into this pre-season eating 6 meals a day and putting on weight to impact the senior list this year. So if this guy played quite well on him when he was younger, it shows that he's got good traits and the ability to, just play great defense, and probably has taught him how to be a better forward line player. So he's had this little bit of development. Whether Brisbane play him as a key defender, it's still to be seen. You don't know. So he can cover a few different roles. So he's physically ready. Also held his own against more senior opposition. The later factor became even more glaring this year, which is why recruiters wanted to see him at senior level. The main concern with Curtin revolves around his speed and ability to cover the ground. while performed well in the National Combine's 2K time trial. He sometimes relies on his size to impact the games, while also dining out on less developed opponents. So yeah, he does like to play on opponents that aren't as developed, especially at the junior level, which you're not going to get that ability at AFL level. You're going to be playing against the best of the best. So yeah, but he has the time to develop his craft, and his work deep inside 50 is the main part of his game that he's good at, and it will be tested once he's matched for size and strength at AFL level. It was much evident when he stepped up to take on a VFL-led opposition with the AFL Academy team in 2 games against East Fremantle, where overage player Jai Sander kept into 1 single goal. That was each time they played. He will need to find other ways to get involved when his marking and goal kicking are shut down. So yeah, with the increasing pace of the game, it will be central to that to make his game better. But he is very dangerous 1 out in front of goal. So like I said, just you need a good midfielder. You need the ball to kick this guy. You need to put it on his head. He needs to clunk it and use his traits to his advantage. And so that covers him quite well. Pretty impressed by him as a player. So we'll get into Tai Hayes. So yeah, he is the nephew of Lenny Hayes, St Kilda legend, one of the tough nuts I've seen play on the football ground. He's a legend of St Kilda. He ran out of game with an ACL injury and didn't know to the next day. That's how tough he is. I know sometimes you can have an ACL and not really know. But yeah, he's tough as nails. So let's talk about Tai. Standing at 183 centimetres. He's a wingman. He has good kicking, running power, the ability to hit the scoreboard, and also a 2-way work rate. So yeah, the ability to be a 2-way running player and have the work rate to be defensively strong, but also attack the ball and attack the scoreboard. He's an overage player, so he was born in 2004, so making him, I think, 21. His exposure at senior level is still to be seen, but he's played a few games, but also his size for his age is still a little bit undersized, with AFL recruiters scouring the country for hidden gems. The potential mature age recruits. Tai Hayes is a prospect who puts his name on the map. As I said, the nephew of St Kilda champion Lenny. He grew up playing footy on Victoria's Mornington Peninsula. He had a breakout season with the QAFLs for Palm Beach and Carabrin, which put him on Southport's radar. So yeah, making his VFL debut in round 2, Hayes quickly made his own on the wing and played every game until his ankle injury ended his season in round 20. He garnered a state draft combine invite, but ultimately unable to test. This 21-year-old is well regarded for his ball use and boasting a raking left foot kick as a standout feature of his game. So, yeah, as any wingman should have those traits, it's quite important. A good kick and the ability to run both ways. And if he has a bit of toughness about him, like his uncle, there's no doubt that he'll be good. Yeah, he also works hard, as I said, running both ways, strong running ability, the ability to impact inside 50. He with 3 2-goal games this year, so he can run down forward and kick a couple of goals, and also showcasing aerial ability and strength. Willingness to put his body on the line, so obviously he's got that Lenny Hayes traits. The Hayes family there are a lot of Hayes around, and most of the Hayes that I know are pretty tough. So, yeah, he's remains lightly framed for his size. However, he'll be a long-term option given his injury plus relatively lack of exposure. So yeah, that covers him pretty well. So an older player maybe having a full-time pre-season with an AFL club, he can put 3 to 5 kilos on and he'll look a lot better. So it's good to see he's got aerial presence. He's got the ability to run both ways. He's got a good kick. Put on a bit of size, like I said. Brisbane, have probably found himself a decent player. So they have time to maybe develop him. Have him on the list for 2 years. See how he goes. He's been given a chance at AFL level. And Brisbane, once again, may have a wingman. And we'll talk about the next player that they got. So, in the rookie draft, Lincoln McCarthy, he was relisted. Back on the side, he has faced a few injury setbacks, whether it's from his ACL, and he's had a hard time. He has missed out on a lot of the Brisbane success, and he must be very well loved and liked because Brisbane were very happy to offer him a spot back on the list, and just shows you that they have the ability to still maintain players like that. And he's got the small forward presence. With Archie being out the side, they're a bit of a different player, but he still has the ability to impact the scoreboard. He's known for his, he can take quite good marks for his size. He has great pressure as a small forward. And he is born in 93, so he's 32 years old. He's a bit older. And it's great to see clubs still keep older players on the list. Originally, he was drafted by Geelong. He's from Bordertown, South Australia, a Glenelg product. So shout out to you, mate. Fellow South Australian. I hope you're doing well. I hope you can get back into that lineup and have a bit of success after missing out on a lot of the Brisbane Lions' success. And just shout out to Brisbane for still giving this guy a spot and keeping an older player on the list. And that does wrap up Brisbane's players, who they got, the roles that they cover, but we didn't quite talk about the roles that they didn't cover. And that being said, I think the roles that they didn't cover was obviously Starcevic leaving. He's no longer there. He's been traded off to West Coast. And Calamachi he didn't get traded. They walked him to the draft. They should have traded him. They could have got an extra pick for another player. I'm not sure what happened there. Were they happy to just let him walk? They should have got one of Adelaide's later picks and got a defensive type player to replace Starcevic, which is a third key tool, who has a bit of versatility to play on the smalls, although, second or third tool. They didn't quite replace that player. It's going to be a hard one whether they get someone to sort of come in and fill that role with a supplementary type pick, if they have that on their mind. And that's the one role that's been seen to be sort of filled. And that and the role that Callum Archie plays, defensive sort of forward presence that he has, sort of to tag out a player, and also on the wing, as he did in the grand final against Oliver Dempsey. Very underrated player. You could call him Mr. Reliable. His ability to shut down one of the defensive players when he's playing up forward of his opponents, and then also translate that into goal scoring abilities and have impact on the scoreboard. Very underrated talent, and the Crows have picked up a good player. I know their forward line's pretty stacked, but could they have a defensive wing or put him in the midfield's defensive role, as I previously said? So that's the roles that Brisbane aren't going to have now, and that's what they're going to need to get in the future. And it's pretty hard to knock a team that's won a couple of flags. So I hope everyone's enjoyed this podcast. And that's the Brisbane draft chats. And that covers that. There's not much more I can add to a premiership winning team. back-to-back premiership winning team. So they obviously know what they're doing, and they've probably got players ready to come in and cover those roles. They got another star midfielder. What else can I say? There's not much else that I can cover. So shout out to them. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast. See you soon.